What if I told you that in 1945, a group of the smartest scientists on Earth calculated a real, non-zero chance that their own experiment would set fire to the entire atmosphere of the planet and erase every living thing on it? And they did the experiment anyway. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is documented, declassified physics. Los Alamos, New Mexico, 1942. The Manhattan Project is racing to build the first atomic bomb before Nazi Germany can build one first. The world's leading physicists are gathered in the desert, working on a weapon nobody has ever created before. Nobody knows exactly what will happen when it detonates. Physicist Edward Teller raises a question in a meeting that stops the room cold. An atomic bomb works by fusion and fission reactions, releasing temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun, even if only for a fraction of a second. Teller's question was this: could that heat be enough to ignite the nitrogen in Earth's atmosphere in a self-sustaining chain reaction? Not a normal fire. A reaction that, once started, would keep burning, consuming the atmosphere, continuing until there was nothing left to burn. Every person on the project, every scientist, every soldier, gone, along with every other living thing on Earth. But here's what nobody wants to admit. They could not immediately prove this was impossible. The physics of atmospheric nitrogen fusion had never been tested. Nobody had ever created conditions this extreme on the surface of the planet before. There was no historical data, no prior experiment to compare it to. So the head of theoretical physics, Hans Bethe, was assigned to run the calculations. Using the physics available in 1942, years before modern computers, Bethe worked through the equations by hand. His conclusion: the reaction was theoretically impossible because the energy required to sustain the chain reaction exceeded the energy the bomb would release. The math showed the fire would not spread. It would simply extinguish itself. But here's the detail that should genuinely disturb you. Bethe's math relied on physics understanding that, at the time, was still incomplete. Nuclear cross-sections, the exact way atomic particles interact under extreme conditions, were not fully known in 1945. The scientists were trusting a calculation built on estimates. Educated, rigorous, but estimates. Arthur Compton, one of the most senior physicists on the project, later revealed in an interview that officials had privately agreed. If the calculated odds of atmospheric ignition were anything higher than 3 in 1 million, the test would not proceed. 3 in 1 million. That was the threshold they were willing to accept for gambling the survival of every living organism on Earth. July 16, 1945. Alamogordo, New Mexico. The Trinity test. The first nuclear detonation in human history. Scientists watched from bunkers miles away, wearing welding goggles, having genuinely calculated and accepted a non-zero chance that this exact moment could be the last moment for humanity and every other species on the planet. The device detonated with a blast equivalent to approximately 21 kilotons of TNT. The desert sand beneath the blast turned to glass in an instant, later named trinitite. The flash was visible in 3 neighboring states. Physicist Robert Oppenheimer, watching the mushroom cloud rise, later said it brought to mind a line from Hindu scripture, that he had become death, the destroyer of worlds. The atmosphere did not ignite. The calculation held. But here's the part of this story that rarely gets told. Even after Trinity proved the atmosphere ignition theory wrong in practice, the theoretical question was never fully closed for decades. It wasn't until later hydrogen bomb tests, devices vastly more powerful than Trinity, that scientists gained enough real-world data to be certain, not just calculated, that atmospheric ignition was truly impossible under any nuclear conditions achievable on Earth. Which means for years, humanity's confidence that this planet would survive its own weapons technology rested on hand calculations, made under wartime pressure, checked by a small group of people, accepted as good enough to proceed. They were right. But being right and being certain were not the same thing in July of 1945. Somewhere in that decision, 3 in 1 million odds, accepted, and a button pressed anyway, is a version of history where the math was wrong by the smallest possible margin, and nobody would have ever been alive to know it happened.